Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye has friends. No, really, Jeff has friends. Jeff's friends are on this podcast. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship.
Friendship.
Welcome back to Jeff Dye's Friendship Podcast. How about that jingle, huh? That's a catchy, fun jingle. Who don't like it? Listen, this week is a very special episode 69.
Nice.
And hey, calm down. We're not in a fraternity. We don't root for the number 69. This is a very classy episode. We don't talk like that. This week, we have one of my favorite pals. I talk about a little bit on the podcast about how nobody believes I know this woman. People are like, yeah, right, you don't know the owner of the Lakers. I promise you I do, and she's a delight, and we talk a lot. She's very cool. She is, like I said, the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, daughter to Jerry BUSS, Jeanie BUSS is in the house, and we're super excited to have her. She's so cool. She likes so many things we like: comic books, sports, wrestling. She likes all those sort of things, and then movies, and she's even making movies now. So we were super excited to have her in. I knew the hour would fly by, which it did. She is the best. We didn't talk as much about stand-up as I would have liked, but she's a huge stand-up comedy fan, and that's how I got to know her. But you guys are going to fall in love with my good friend, Jeanie BUSS. If you want to watch this episode, you can subscribe to my Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Jeff Dye, and you can watch this episode and all the other 68 episodes. If you're just listening, that's cool too. Go to wherever you're watching this or wherever you're listening and hit subscribe, maybe rate. Just like that. Very special day for me. I'm very happy to have in the Fortress of Solid Dudes, one of the most powerful women in the world, one of the nicest people I know, legendary owner of Women of Wrestling, Jeanie BUSS. That's how you know her. That's right. That's how everyone knows her.
That's right. Thank you. I like that. The Fortress of Solid Dudes.
Yeah, that's what we call this place.
I like it.
Which we've been accused of being too male heavy. That's what Grace Hilbig once was like. You even called it Fortress of Solid Dudes. I'm like, well, I'm sorry that I'm a guy. I don't know what to tell you.
There's just dudes here a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudes. Yeah. So that's why we're happy to have you. Also, owner of the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
The
nice little
NBA franchise.
Yeah. To put in there.
But Women of Wrestling, that's what we're here to talk about.
There you go. Yeah. What do you want to know?
I want to know everything. I want to know it all. Well, first off, I'll start off by how it's funny because I know famous people. I know Russell Wilson, Sierra. I know Hulk Hogan. Like I've had these relationships with people that are famous. Nobody ever doubts me. People just go, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, he was on a show with so-and-so. You're the only famous person I know that no one believes me.
Yeah, I've seen it happen. I've seen it
over and over in my life. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually pals with Jeanie BUSS. And they're like, no, you're not.
Yeah, it's happened on this podcast.
Yeah. It's insanity. And I'll be like, no, I can text her. They're like, oh, please. I'm like, I swear to you. Like, it's crazy.
Because you're higher than me.
No,
and
it's not that.
And people are like, why would you lower yourself to be friends with her?
That's preposterous. No. Because I'll be like, yeah, it's great. Like, I'll get, I'll text her and then she'll let me come to the games. And they're like, no. I was like, okay, I promise that it's real. It's so funny. But do you remember how we met?
It had to be at a Laker game.
Nope.
I don't. I don't
Right.
remember.
So it was in 2000, either 2008 or 2009. I was dating a girl who was a Playmate of the Year.
Yes.
And I
okay.
was it was either just like I don't think it was a Playboy party. It doesn't strike me as a party, but it could have been Kendra Wilkinson's wedding. Did you go to that?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, you were at that wedding.
Yeah, and I was at that great wedding where Kendra Wilkinson married a football player at her ex-boyfriend's mansion.
Yeah.
Very strange reality show.
Yeah, they filmed that, right?
Very weird,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I was super uncomfortable and like it was so weird. But then I met you and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like Jeanie Buss, like the owner of the Lakers. And you just knew me because of stand-up, because I was on Last Comic Standing.
Yes.
And so we're talking, and my girlfriend at the time, who was Playmate of the Year 2007, very beautiful lady, no reason to be insecure, maybe ever, because she should be a lot more confident. She's like, why are you talking to Jeanie Buss? Like, dude, because
Oh man.
I don't know why it's a problem. She's the best. And she was like so mad that I talked to you. And then I was like, from then I was like, well, and we didn't get to be friends or nothing because Sarah came over and broke it up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was a fun wedding because anything at the Playboy Mansion is fun.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that she did that. So then how did we run into each other again?
That's a good question.
Yeah, like
I think that I probably just followed you on social media.
That's it.
That's got to be what it was.
It, yeah.
And then the Laker games.
Because I was already following you, and you probably saw that I was following. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
But also at that wedding, little quick caveat: Michael Jackson had just died. So during her wedding, which she's trying to put on reality TV, there's all these helicopters just flying over Michael Jackson's property, so it's like.
So that was
one of the most
2009.
famous people ever died, and Kendra's just having a meltdown about how her televised wedding was not
It was being ruined
was
by
being
Michael
ruined by
Jackson
sound
stuff.
problems. So like we have to hold again for that. Like that really kills your
Right.
your vows.
Your ceremony.
I loved it. So, but what I find most interesting, one of my favorite things to talk about you, when people are like, how do you know Jeanie? I'm like, dude, you won't believe this. She loves stand-up comedy.
I do. I admire anybody that can get up and do comedy because I think it's the most vulnerable place you can put yourself. And so it's brave. And I believe that humor is not utilized enough to help people cope with stress and help them deal with, trauma and kind of bridge topics that may be too sensitive to, for the dinner table, but like by bringing humor to it, just helps us as a society process and, make connections.
Yeah. Well, but you must have had to talk in front of people your whole life, right?
I do. And I'm horrible at it. And I, so I took a comedy class last year, where it's called Pretty Funny Women. And I recommend it highly for any woman that's interested in or who has to stand up in front of groups because the teacher, Lisa Sunstedt, if I say that right, and she actually teaches you how to be funny and, how to be funny or maybe you're not funny, but like everybody has a story they have to tell.
Sure.
And like she kind of teaches you where you can maybe pull more laughter or like what to accentuate. And so when I do have to, make a presentation, when you can get laughter back, it makes it a lot easier.
It makes it a lot more enjoyable too. Like I can't tell you how many times I do like hosting or emceeing for like a corporate thing or a celebrity golf tournament. They'll hire me like, hey, can you come do this thing? And they'll be like, oh, thank God you were funny. Last year we came to this, like
Right.
even just Russell Wilson and Sierra's, I emceed the auction because I was like a late ad. So they didn't want me to host anything or do anything. But they're like, if you want to do the auction part, you can. And so that's usually just an auctioneer pressuring rich people to like, hey, you came to my charity, buy this.
And everybody's watching.
Yeah, and everyone's
who's going to stand up?
I guess, 20,000,
Yeah.
dude. And so I was making it really like funny and being like, and listen, if your kids vote, that counts on you. So make sure your kids aren't, like whatever. And I was like, just kind of making it silly. I was adding things to the auction. So like for like $1,000, Russell Wilson would throw you a football and you could say you caught a football from Russell Wilson. And then afterwards, Russell Wilson sign it. And he had like 20 footballs there. So that's $20,000. $20,000, each person $1,000. And I was like, forget that. Who wants a hug from Sierra? And now we don't have to produce a football.
Right.
And we were like, oh, they're $500 for a hug from Sierra. I was like, all right, Sierra. And Sierra's like, Jeff, what are you doing? But little things like that, we still made money. We still make it funny.
Yeah.
And that helps. So naturally, if you're going to give a speech about being, I don't know, any female owners. Are there any other female owners in sports?
Now there are. I mean, Gail Benson is now the governor of the New Orleans Pelicans because her husband passed away, and she took over both the Saints and the Pelicans.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
And you know, we have more and more women who are shareholders and are alternate governors that have roles on the executive level in terms of legal and marketing. And, you know, so more and more women are represented at the meetings.
So when you go talk to these things, like jokes are going to go over so well. Like that's what they're going to lead with. I feel like you can make those also with humor. You can make digs at maybe a male patriarch or like you can you know, you're going to get away with more if you're like, well, Jeanie's just being, that was very funny and very clever, you know, like it doesn't feel like an actual dig, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Whitney Cummings just did a talk about female empowerment and it was hilarious. But like it was supposed to be a talk.
Yeah.
And then she made it, she was like, women, stop buying shit that doesn't matter. You don't need you don't need 20 expensive purses. Freeze your eggs. Even though I'm a guy, I enjoyed listening to the talk because I agreed with all the subjects and also it was funny. It wasn't just a male bashing and I know not like all like women's things like that are male bashing, but they can feel that way.
Exactly.
They can sometimes feel like, hey, why not include everyone? You know what I'm saying? So humor goes a long way in that. I recommend everyone takes a stand-up comedy class.
I agree.
Yeah, like if you're in real estate, like it's gonna make you feel a little bit more confident, a little more.
When I did my first improv class at UCB, I was one of like 2 actors in the group. Everyone else was like business people or like just trying to get out of their comfort zone or learn a little more.
So you do stand up too?
No.
Oh.
No,
Tony
I used to
pretty much everything though.
Yeah,
he's got the improv skills because he books like commercials and stuff because of his improv skills. He's funny in real life. He raps, right, which is amazing. He's awesome. A screenwriter. He just wrote this great thing that we had a table read for the other day, which was awesome. He's a jack of all trades. Stand up just isn't one of those trades.
Yeah,
but I think you'd be fine at it if you did it.
No, I just like respect it too much to like I know I can't put the time in to like get good at it, and I don't want to go up there and just goof around because it's just. I don't know.
Well, it's like even if you just tell your own story, like you can get up and tell a story, right? And so part of the class is we had to do open mic.
Oh boy!
So I did, you know, and I was like dying, and I had to go to the.
I can't picture you being nervous.
Oh God! The like haha.
Yeah, the haha. Oh gosh. Okay.
And so did open mic, and
that could be a brutal room when it's like a Friday and it's packed. Let alone an open mic.
Open mic, it was like, I never experienced anything like that. And
did the owner Jack just talk your ear off and try to become your best friend?
Is that who that was?
Got long hair, fast talking Mexican guy.
Well, he didn't know, like nobody knew who I mean, not that I'm anybody, but you know, I was just
Jeanie,
like another comic, another would-be comic, like, you know, signing up for paying my $5.
That's what I find mind-boggling.
Right, okay.
Almost degrading to women. That I'm like, that's the owner of the Lakers. And they're like, what? Is it because
I'm like everybody else.
You are behaviorally. But not everyone else owns the Lakers. It's a big deal. Like you should realize every morning I would wake up like, I own the, you know, it's a big deal.
I don't do that.
But what I mean is that like, I think most people, would you know the Mariners owner if he was walked into like a bar?
Well, yeah, just because I'm a big fan of the team, but I wouldn't.
But who's the owner?
Any other team. Well, it's actually, maybe you're right.
Yeah,
I know the president, like John Stanton.
Yeah, and Kevin Martinez is, I know.
He's VP of
VP. I think I might recognize him.
Yeah.
No, he's the vice president of the Mariners.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But, and then there, like, I would know John Schneider.
Yeah.
Who, is he even own he doesn't own?
He's the GM.
He's the general manager. Who owns the Seahawks?
Well, it was Paul Allen.
I definitely recognize Paul
And
Allen.
I think it's his.
Because he's got a
He
weird
passed
look.
away.
I think it's
But he had a weird look.
And now,
He would always walk in, you'd be like, that guy doesn't know anything about sports. You're like, he owns the Blazers and the,
And now his sister owns them.
Yeah, he left
Until
it to his
until they-
sister,
There you go.
and then
Sister owned- or
she's
female
gonna.
owned.
She came to our league meetings just 2 weeks ago in Las
wow.
Vegas, so she's serious.
Nice.
She's
Nice.
sincere about keeping the team, which I really like.
Yeah.
So we have another woman. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. But I guess what I'm saying is, I guess I wouldn't know any owners.
Yeah, no.
But the Lakers are different. Also, your dad
No,
was
Cuban.
a legend.
Cuban.
I want to hear your
Everyone's
best
Cuban.
Jerry Buss story, but it might not be the same. It might not be the same coming from you.
Do you have a Jerry Buss story?
I don't know. I was just like a
Okay.
big fan from, like from afar. And obviously like you met Brant Tobler, one of my best
Yes.
friends in the world. He
Yes.
now lives in Colorado, so we don't get to hang out every
Yeah.
minute of the day like we used to. But when we were in the chairman's lounge, that's all Brant would do. We would drink whiskey and he would just ask people, hey, give me your best Jerry Buss story. And like the two guys that work in the chairman's lounge,
Yeah.
I don't remember their names.
Roberto
Roberto
and Mario.
yes, those guys, I always remember them. I don't remember their names, obviously, but like when we go in there, we always just saddle up right there.
Yeah.
And they adored your dad, and they just tell these great stories. Oh, it's the best with the girls would be, and it's just like, it's so great. So it's a little different asking his daughter, what's your best Jerry Buss story? But do you have a fond memory? A favorite?
I mean, everyone, but I ask people all the time that question, because now it's been, almost 6 years since he passed away, that when I hear a news story about him, it's almost like getting a little hug, or, it's like it connects me in a way. And, people really admired him, and there's so many, I mean, he crossed all, paths. Like he played poker constantly. So he was in all the card clubs, and he would go to the horse racetrack in Del Mar.
What a man's man.
Yeah. And, but
Poker,
then,
horses,
and
basketball,
he had
and
really
the
good
ladies.
taste in women.
Yeah.
Right. And, and he loved to travel, and, went to Italy every summer. That was his favorite place. And, so he really loved his life. And the Lakers, my dad had 6 kids, but the Lakers were his baby. Like that was like, he loved that team. He loves this team so much. And it was really important to him that the family keep the team. Like he wanted, and I think it was just because he didn't want anybody else to own them. So I was put in a position to protect what he loved so dearly. Yeah. And, we had some hard times, in a transition, but now I think we're on the other side of it. And when somebody like LeBron James joins you and joins your team,
So excited.
that's a huge validation of what we're building. And now we, picked up another
JB
player in Anthony Davis, which I'm really excited to see him play in a Laker uniform. But, we had to give up a lot of value in, Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart and Brandon Ingram, and, guys that we've, had since day one of their career. So, it's exciting to welcome a new player, but it's also sad to see others
Which
go.
must be part of it. Like you see a guy do good for like a different team, and you go, we used to have him. Like we do that. We feel like that as fans, but like I don't feel any like personal responsibility. You know what I'm saying? You're like, we could have. I always think like if I was an owner, like the Mariners, I always use this example, but like they traded Jason Varitek, and they did it for like personal reasons instead of like business reasons.
Yeah, that's not
Lou
good.
Pinella's daughter married this guy who's a really good catcher. What are you going to trade your son-in-law? You're not going to do that. So but then they traded a guy who later became he's going to be a Hall of Famer, Jason Varitek. You don't think so? Oh, wow.
I think he's already been on and off the ballot.
I didn't know that.
Because I don't know when he retired.
He knows
It's been a while.
everything. I didn't know that. I thought he was, but he's very good.
Oh, of course. He was the captain of the
Red Sox. Won World Series. I thought he was
wow.
I thought he was a lot.
Right.
Maybe I think he's better than he is. But I always think if I was the owner, I'd just be shooting my foot all the time that we traded that guy.
No, I take a lot of pride in in the accomplishments. Like when the Lakers traded Shaquille O'Neal to Miami.
Yeah.
I was happy for him when he won another championship.
Really?
You know, I mean, I'd rather Lakers win. That's my first choice.
Right.
Yeah.
But if it can't be us, I'm happy to see Shaq. I'm happy to see Julius Randle, you know, sign
And
a
Shaq
big deal.
he'd play for any team. That guy wore a jersey, like if anybody, like just literally, oh, what's that team? I'll play for that team.
Yeah.
What, Celtics, Miami, Orlando, Los Angeles,
Phoenix.
Cleveland, Phoenix. I mean, if they had a point guard that could throw it up to Shaq, he's like, I'll play on that team.
That's right.
It was insane. So it couldn't hurt, it's not that big of a deal. It's a little different when Kobe tries to leave,
Yeah.
That's a
And he didn't.
much different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I'm happy about this team. And I don't even know if this is a compliment you're supposed to say, but your dad also has the greatest grave. We went and saw it. I sent you photos.
I know.
It's
I
the
forgot
best.
that she did that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a nice, it's like a statue, or what's it called? Like a bust? I don't know what it's called. Yeah.
Of him, and
Jerry bust?
he's holding the championship trophy, and it was a great picture of him that the same artist who has made all the statues at Staples Center made the bust of my dad for his memorial out at in Glendale at the
Forever Hollywood.
Yeah,
Is that
so
what it's called? No, it's not called that.
Forest-
Whatever the one is by Commissary.
yeah Forest.
That's what I know. It should probably have a
Forest
name.
Lawn.
You know who doesn't respect grave sites?
Who?
Deers.
Oh, they walk all over.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna
Right?
say me for some reason, like just the way you were looking at me, like
Oh,
you're
yeah,
gonna
sometimes
throw
I will throw Tony under the bus.
I was like, oh,
I'll
great.
say,
Here
you
we
know
go.
who's a racist? That Tony Reavis.
no,
I'm
no.
always just
Don't
trying
say
to
that.
keep his career suppressed
Yeah,
so
thanks,
he
man.
can never leave me.
Yeah, thanks.
That's what a lot of powerful men do. They keep control. No, but what I was gonna say is we're there and we're looking at all the grave sites and stuff, and we're trying to find Jerry's, and we're looking around, and then there's these deers just walking around eating the flowers off of people's. You're like, that was like for the resting. You're gonna just eat it, you disrespectful deer. I don't like it.
Well, I think they're still trying to get back at us for Bambi's mom, maybe.
I guess I don't know if they're really aware of the cartoon.
And I don't think they're aware of the deceased either.
That's true too. All right, so one of the things that I referenced earlier that we were talking about was the women of wrestling,
Yes.
and it's very similar. You went with David McClain from Glow.
Yep.
Now, before we go down this women of wrestling show, David McClain used to make these Glow girls do these raps. You remember this? Do these WoW girls do it?
Now, actually, we do have.
Oh no!
I mean, it's evolved from Glow, but
Good.
like Glow was if you watch the series on Netflix,
The series is phenomenal.
right? And
The old Glow wrestling that I watched when I was a kid, I was like, what is this garbage?
it wasn't garbage. It was campy. It was
Yeah.
fun, and it gave women an opportunity to be the performers,
Right.
and that's what I think has been missing in wrestling is women having the center stage and the spotlight. And I think the reason I got involved in it is that I see now we've made such emphasis on women's sports, and with Title IX, there's more and more girls that are growing up as athletes and learning the discipline and the camaraderie that a team sport can bring you. And I think that's such a great message for girls in their life to have sports. But now, they may get lucky and get, through their hard work and discipline, get a scholarship and, have their tuition paid for. But now they're done with school and their eligibility's done. Where do they get to use this talent that
Right.
they've worked there since they were kids, learning that discipline and staying in shape and so unless you're drafted in the WNBA or a tennis player or
Which
figure
you'll still need a
skater.
day job, I'll tell you that. They don't pay much in the WNBA.
No, but and I mean the WNBA is unique because women can make more money overseas in the professional league. So the WNBA isn't the highest, professional league. That's in, I think Russia and Asia have really great leagues. So those girls make a lot more money, and they can't give up those jobs. So they end up playing 12 months out of the year, which I think is a big challenge for them.
Yeah.
But going back to women of wrestling, I really wanted to see women have an opportunity to become professional athletes, to be rewarded for all that hard work. And, if they want to be center stage, because wrestling is, not only do you have to, be a character and a performer, but you have to be very athletic.
That's what I love about wrestling. It's sports mixed with acting. Exactly. Those are two worlds I love that have collided. And that's why I've loved it since I was a little boy, is that it's so fun. But you're also, it's also teamwork. It's like a dance. Like you need to, the other person has to be, that's your friend, but you're putting on this show, but it's also really hard and exhausting and you're sweaty. So there's like brotherhood mixed with this entertainment conflict that's not even real, but it also tells a story, and there's also costume and music. It's all these great things. Tell me if you agree or disagree with what I'm about to say. I'm not that attached to it.
Okay.
But I don't think that there's ever been a shortage of women being athletes, getting involved in team sports, and being great at it. I think what we need to do is encourage people to watch these sports and encourage these sports. Because as we grew up in a really athletic school where all the girls, and definitely the ones I liked the most, played soccer, softball, gymnastics. The problem was a social stigma of no one caring or watching or encouraging it the way they encourage the boys. So we have always had women doing these things, right? It's not like women have always been playing basketball. Women have always been doing the problem is no one turns up. And if there's not a demand, then how do they get paid? Like we've had the Seattle Storm in Seattle forever. Every time I go to a game, it's like, I'm like the only guy there, first of all. I'm the only straight person there for sure. And I'm definitely the only one like watching the game. So how do you encourage people to watch it? That's the problem.
Well, I mean, I have to give you a little bit of a history lesson because you're young, and so you haven't
24. If anyone's curious, 24 years old.
And so you have to look at like the history of women in sports, and there was a time where women were not allowed to participate in sports because it may jeopardize their reproductive health.
Oh my God.
So that's why, it's been a long fight.
When was that? They were like, hey, don't be jumping around. You can't have babies.
Exactly.
They would say that?
That's exactly true.
That's insanity.
A woman was not allowed to run a marathon until 1972.
That's really?
Yeah, because I mean, this is what we've had to change the thought process. Yeah. So that's why I'm happy that you say,
we need
you don't remember a time when it wasn't like that. That's what, that's a good thing because that's the way it should be. And in terms of, getting people to watch, it has. And, in order to get people to pay attention, and certainly when you're in high school, your parents are going to come watch you play basketball, whether you are terrible like I was.
But they don't buy any drinks. They don't buy any food.
Well, but
you bums.
So now we have to figure out women's sports that are entertaining.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
And
well, now if we all can agree that the WNBA hasn't, if we're putting on the game, if we're saying that the game hasn't been entertaining enough for people to watch it, if you're going to blame the sport instead of the fans, you say, then what changes can we make to make the fans like it? I have an idea.
What?
Lower the rim.
8 foot
It
hoops.
is so silly that we can recognize that that women are biologically a little smaller than men in every way. The ball is smaller. They're a little shorter. You take the tallest man in the world, tallest woman in the world. Who's taller? You take the strongest guy in the world, strongest woman in the world. Who's a little stronger? They're biologically a little. So why are they playing on the same height rim as the men? There's no coincidence that every guy can dunk in the NBA and only one lady can dunk in the WNBA. Lower the rim, and these ladies are dunking on each other, and mooks like me are going to show up and go, yeah. Like it's such an easy change, and it's not like you're degrading the women by making it a 9-foot rim, because the women will go, yeah, that makes sense. Like we aren't as large. That's why the ball's smaller.
My guess is, and I'm not part of the WNBA. Well, I mean, it's what happens is, when you're a kid and you're playing, junior basketball, up until a certain age, the boys play with girls.
Right.
And then when they hit like teenage or preteen, it's like you got to separate them.
But I bet that changes now too. I bet now they're even separating them earlier.
Well, but that's the part I don't get. Like, why can't it be like a co-ed league or not the WNBA? Why can't we start a co-ed league?
Sure.
Like add, I think that nothing would further the collaboration and the integration of men and women than playing sports together and watching the camaraderie that is built and, problem solving, trying to win a game. But I think in terms of what you just brought up about lowering the rim and changing the ball, that all of a sudden think of what that does to every high school. Now it's something else they have to, another expense.
Do we not all like money?
Well,
it's a great idea. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the type of change that makes owners go, if we got to go like this and lower the rim every time some girls they're already turning the Staples Center around.
Well, yes, on a pro level. Yes, absolutely.
But also so the girls maybe until they're 13 are kind of like launching it up there to a 10-foot rim. But in these other areas like college basketball, who makes a bevy of money, they don't even pay any of the students. They can afford to do it. It's not like a huge. I don't see how it could be.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
And why not have an exhibition game where they try it and let's see what happens.
I played in a celebrity cornhole thing for cancer on Sunday. On Sunday, and Jenny Finch was there, who is one of the most it was incredible. She was even killing it at cornhole, just like this specimen. She's like
she's
6
competitive,
foot.
yeah.
She's strong.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the fact that she's an Olympic athlete, gold medalist, like in my mind, I was just thinking, like, how is she not probably one of the best pitchers in the world? But she has a regular life. It's like, no, she should be, but like one of the, I don't know, it was frustrating to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's women's sports. We have to. And so people like me in my position, I've invested my own money. It's not Laker money. It's my own money in, giving women opportunities to perform in sports.
Love it.
I just happen to pick wrestling because I think people can relate to it.
Do you like wrestling?
I was never really a fan. My friend David, he invited me. He tried to launch WOW in 2001, and he invited me to come see it. And I gave him every excuse because I thought it was like mud wrestling or Jello wrestling or something really demeaning. And finally, I went, and as soon as I
David
saw
McClain.
Right. No, he would never do that. Like Glow was always empowering of women. And, so as soon as I saw it, I got it because I've collected comic books my whole life.
Right.
And so they were, it's superheroes. It's Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and it's good versus evil. But to me, it was important because you watched women fight their own battles. They weren't running to a man to save them.
Right.
And, they stand up for what they believe in, for their own convictions, right or wrong, but they're passionate about something. And I think that's important too. So the messages were there for me. And, so that didn't take off. But about 3 years ago, I said to David, let's try it again. Let's do this. And I think other wrestling, their idea of diversity is it's like the same exact looking girl, but with different color hair. Like that's their idea of diversity. Ours, it's like, we have one wrestler, Fire, and she'd always been told she was too small to wrestle.
Okay.
And, she's one of our most popular wrestlers.
How small is she?
I don't know how tall she is, but she's strong, and she's she's
3'7".
It's like the fans love her because she's like,
she's tiny though.
She's tiny, and it's like, it's it's given her, it's changed her life. Like
Yeah.
she's so proud to be a wrestler. And those are the kind of things that I like to do. So it's people like me in positions that we can create opportunities for women in sports. We have to do that.
Sure.
That's what has to happen.
I was looking at the lineup this morning, actually. There's Beast.
Beast, yeah.
That's a fun one. There's one that's like 6 foot. There's a lady. I'm trying to remember her name.
No.
I don't remember. But there was and then there's like the Hollywood one, Lana something.
Lana Starr.
Lana Starr, her whole shtick is she's like from Beverly Hills. She's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
She carries a mirror.
It's a really bad look for Beverly Hills. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that puts a bad, you know what I'm saying? Like Beverly Hills is a nice place. People are nice. I think that's a stereotype on Beverly Hills. But she seems good too.
Yeah, and our champion is Tessa Blanchard, who comes from many, like a wrestling family.
Nice.
And
And her dad was a Four Horseman.
Yeah. One of the 17 people that was in the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, one of the OGs though.
Come on, you got to recast the part.
Four Horsemen, which I think, they would do it all the time. A guy would be in and then a guy would be out. Sometimes there was 5 Four Horsemen, which I thought was strange. It was confusing for me as a kid. So I talked about it earlier, but I can't get over it. They would do these raps in like the 80s that drove me crazy. Even as a little kid, I was like, stop it. Because like not ever, like something about pro athletes, obviously old wrestlers, just something in the 80s. There was real rappers, but anybody that was like a pro athlete or like a TV personality, they only knew one type of rap. And it was like, my name's Jeff Dye and I'm here to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh. We had like Kurt Warner out. Oh no, it was probably pre-Kurt Warner. But like, remember when the Rams did one? They would all like be like in the line dance, and then the Bears did, or the Bears might have done it first.
Yeah.
And I just remember like that rap would trigger me so hard. The other day we were just watching old Glow raps, and we just were watching, and it was like it drove me crazy.
And maybe it was designed to drive you crazy so that you had to watch so you could hate it.
Just
So you could
so
hate it.
frustrating. But when I saw because I didn't know Dave McClain was part of it. I just learned about it kind of this morning, like looked up on it because I know wrestling real well. But I was actually going to go to one of these tapings with my buddy Sean. Remember we texted about it, but I was on the road. But it's cool. How often do you go?
Well, we had our first season finally air on, it started this year in January on Access TV, which means I'm partners with Mark Cuban.
Nice.
Because that's his network.
Is that there's some sort of conflict of interest there? You can't be
No,
partners with
why?
Mark Cuban.
It has nothing to do with...
Well, as a guy who knows nothing about business, I think you're not allowed to work with Mark Cuban.
Why?
Because he owns a basketball team.
Well, I
you
mean,
own a basketball
he
team.
wants to beat me on the court, and I want to beat him on the court. Like that has nothing to do
I'm
with
just
like,
making sure there's no
no
tomfoolery.
And so it was one of the highest watched programs on his network. So they re-upped for 24 episodes for season 2.
Nice.
So we've been filming. We're going to be filming again in September. We shoot at the Belasco Theater, which is where Oscar De La Hoya did a lot of his boxing promotions. It's this beautiful old theater in downtown Los Angeles, and it's been a perfect home for us.
Nice. What happens if one of the girls gets hurt? I mean, you're shooting 20. You have to like change the writing.
Everything happens. Everything that can happen has happened already, and we're only in our second year, so nothing would surprise me.
The writers just mix it up, then, right? Like,
Yeah,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
And we've got a lot of girls that have this is their first time wrestling, but then we also have a lot of veterans. And our coach, who trains all the girls is Selena Majors, and she is fantastic at what she does. And so, between the rookies and the veterans, we have a lot of, good seasoned performers so that if something does happen,
it's good.
They can be flexible.
Do you ever try to poach the wrestlers from WWE?
It's more like other wrestling prohibits them from crossing over to other wrestling. So.
But you ever get like people that are like, hey, I don't want to be in this wrestling thing anymore. I want to come over there.
I mean, that's for them to say, but certainly I think, our last in May when we were filming, the girls called me out to the ring.
Nice.
Which I was dying because getting into the ring is like that's
feat.
That's hard. Like, don't, you got under the ropes, don't go over the ropes. Right. And so I go in the ring and they presented me with a ceremonial belt because they appreciate so much to be working for a woman.
I love that.
And so, that had never really registered with me, but to hear them say that, it really touched my heart.
It also lowers the odds of any sexual harassment. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, that would not be tolerated.
Statistically.
Yeah, I mean, that's not tolerated anywhere.
As an owner, you're not going to get all liquored up and then be like, hey, gals, can I talk to you in the locker room?
No, that's terrible. No,
that's what I'm saying.
That's not tolerated.
That's why they appreciate
in any
it.
workplace for any performers, any athletes should never have to go through that.
Well, I mean, I guess. But if I had a female owner, I'd be fine with it. Wait, so I didn't know that you liked comic books?
Yes, I started collecting comic books. Like when people, because I was at Comic-Con, and people were like, oh, is this your first Comic-Con? I go, actually, my first Comic-Con was in 1976 when I think it was year 3 or 4. And it was held at the El Cortez Hotel in downtown San Diego. And my mom dropped me off so that I had my list of, Supergirl, Superboy, Lois Lane, all the ones that I wanted to get. And, it
the
takes
Lois Lane comic. I don't know that one.
Yeah, she had her own title, like, in the 60s and 70s. And
that's what, did you like any guy comic book characters?
Oh yeah. I mean, I liked all
some
the
guys,
I liked all the Superman universe. So anything in the Superman universe, but like to get, the older, like World Finest, adventure comics, those are really expensive. So like the Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, Supergirl, those kind of were in my budget. I was like 12 years old, so all
right, we'll just do a whole favorites thing,
So yeah.
Who's your favorite NBA player of all time?
I can only talk about retired players because I'm not allowed to talk about players that are currently on any.
But I know,
teams.
he knows. We all know that you're human. You must have favorites currently, but we won't talk about it.
Well, I mean, it's like Kobe, of course.
Yeah, Kobe's your favorite of all time.
Favorite player, inspiration, friend. He's been so great to me, and we were just blessed to have somebody of his talent and his work ethic as part of our franchise. He raised the bar.
Do you think that he regrets that he can't tell kids to go to college? Do you know?
I think his oldest daughter is.
She's skipping college too?
No, not at all. I think that, he's a believer in education. And I believe that he really utilized his time as a player, networking and meeting people who were successful in all different areas of life and in business. And, he used opportunities like as educating himself and really always pushing his own limits. And I mean, to go from a 20-year career in the NBA to winning an Oscar. Yeah. Like that's not a lot of people can say that. That's not by accident.
He's the best. I will say, the only thing I don't like about him is he's always talking about soccer. He loves soccer.
A lot of athletes do.
That's very annoying to me.
Why?
He's the basketball guy. I want him to talk about basketball. I want him to be like on TV going like, yeah, we're happy that LeBron's at the Lakers. I want him to say things like that. I don't want him talking about World Cup and women's soccer. I was like, what's happening here?
Well, he's coaching his daughter in basketball.
That's another. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
See, I like that. He's the basketball guy.
He's the coach.
I like putting things in a box, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, he won an Oscar. No, he's the basketball guy. It was a basketball movie. All right, I'm back. I'm fine with that. All right. One of my favorite scenes about basketball in the history of things was a little movie called Homeward Bound, Air Bud.
Airbud.
Now, if you don't know much about Air Bud, it's this dog. You love dogs, right?
Yeah.
It's about this dog who they find out is good at basketball. In fact, so good at basketball that he can shoot threes with his nose. He can like dunk, which is strange. It's on the cover. But in the first Homeward Bound, there's when they realize this dog can play and he's good. I mean, he's the star.
You mean Air Bud?
Air Bud. I keep saying, did I say Homeward Bound?
Yeah, stop saying that.
So an Air Bud. This dog's playing, right? I'm enjoying it. I'm a kid. It's great. It's so fun to watch a dog play basketball. But they cut to a scene where the dog is running down the court and there's just girls in the stands just watching. And I wonder if they did that on purpose because they're like, they let a dog play, but not girls. They're like, well, I mean, the dog. Come on, ladies. I mean, look at him. He can shoot off his nose. But they're not letting, like, it's boys. And if this dog wants to play, he can play. Like, if I was a woman, I would have a big problem with that movie. Air Bud, step it up, man. It's not very progressive.
That's funny.
It's very offensive to me.
What a weird concept of a movie.
It's such a silly thing. I feel like a kid wrote it.
Yeah.
You know, hey, Mom, wouldn't it be funny if Oliver could shoot baskets? And she'd be like, well, it's something. And then he made it a script.
Yeah.
It's probably how all these things happen. They steal an idea from
What if that dog could really shoot baskets?
Oh, nah, dude. No.
No, okay.
Zero chance.
All right.
Or Jeanie be signing him.
Yeah.
What if a woman was so good at basketball? Would we let her play in the NBA?
You know, I don't think there's any rules against it.
Okay.
I mean, women have been drafted into the NBA. When the draft was 10 rounds, I believe Nancy Lieberman and Ann Myers were both drafted.
Really? And what happened?
They didn't make the team. I mean, you got to be the best, 12 players to make a team, right? So I guess they weren't good enough. But
yeah, with 10
maybe
rounds
someday,
too.
yeah, back then. Now it's only 2.
Yeah.
Is basketball trying to go like year round now or something? It's like, I don't remember them doing these summer league televised games and stuff.
It's just the game is so popular now. It's with free agency and the summer league and the draft, it's kind of almost 12 months out of the year.
I think about it like basketball's kind of become like pro wrestling. Like each team kind of has like a guy that is like a nice guy or a bad guy. And then you're like, ooh, so-and-so's feuding with so-and-so. And, oh, look, it's going to be a clash of Westbrook versus, it's like, it feels real story driven.
Yeah. And the players are so recognizable where I think in football.
And they're tweeting and all that.
Yes. The social media has really added to it. But they're recognizable. They show emotion, on the court. So you can relate to it.
How much of it's real and how much of it isn't?
Oh, it's all real.
It really?
It's all real.
What the emotion is?
Yeah, everything that goes on is real.
Really?
I mean, it's.
I always think like it's just such a weird. I don't know I would never know if it's like real or not. They're like, oh, so and so is mad at so and so. I was like, I don't know. How do I know?
Yeah. I mean, I think chemistry is important. It's hard to win a championship. You have to have everybody on the same page because if people don't see things the same way, you've got teams trying to beat you. If you can't even align, then there's really no chance to win. So.
Well, I think I speak for you when I say that the Lakers are going to win 6 championships in a row. With this new team, don't you think?
I think the parity is so great in the NBA right now that there are many teams that you could really make good arguments about why they're going to win.
3, technically.
Okay. 3.
3 teams.
I mean, what we're about is getting ourselves in the best position possible to win.
Yeah.
And then everything else has to come together. I think, we changed coaches. We have a new coach in Frank Vogel, who has had a lot of playoff success in the Eastern Conference. Now he's out here. He's brought in Jason Kidd, former head coach.
Former Rookie of the Year.
Lionel Hollins, another former head coach with a lot of playoff experience. So, we're putting ourselves in the position to get all the resources that we can to help the players be the best that they can be and even exceed their own expectations when they're all put together and put in the right place for them.
Yeah, it's tricky. I feel like the worst thing about the NBA, or even just sports in general, is how short-memoried fans are. Fans are the worst about that. They're like so hard on basketball. Like they'll be like, Lakers stink, this whole year's a what? And then the next day, like, we got LeBron and we're gonna, and then like it's just it's so bipolar. It feels like.
Well, and I like that our fans have high expectations. That's our job to fulfill that. And even though they can show their frustration, they've stayed. I mean, our renewal rate for season tickets is 98%.
It's very
and
good.
We haven't been in the playoffs in 6 years.
Yeah.
So, they have faith that we're going to, that we are frustrated and we want to be back where they want to be. And, hopefully we've taken the steps to get, so we can be part of the conversation again, because we haven't been.
Do you have a least favorite player ever?
In the NBA.
I mean, you've been around the league your whole life. There was never one guy that you're like, man, that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No, I love Kareem.
Man, that so-and-so,
I guess, no, there really isn't anybody, I guess you could say, like, you could cast, like, Ron Artest as like somebody that like, wow, like he really, he went into the stands and he was going after fans, and wow,
we loved that.
Well, but I mean, but like allowing him to evolve as a human and like seeing why that was a problem, that you can't do that. And now who he is today as meta world peace, and somebody who, stands up for mental health and wellness, and, acknowledging his own problems and not having the resources or the pathways to, deal with the things that made him angry. And
so you're saying your least favorite Laker is meta world peace? That's very strange.
No. I mean, that
very
like
strange
that you could say
question.
like Ron Artest, and then as he evolved to meta world peace, like it, so like there's nobody that I would say that I hated, because you have to let people evolve.
Yeah,
don't paint them in a corner.
Message.
Right.
But when you were a kid, there must have been someone you didn't like,
Probably Jack Sigma.
There we go. Yes. We got an answer. Old Jack, old dirty Jack Sigma for the Seattle Supersonics. World champion, by the way.
That's right. That's right. That's why, because that was like, I was a teenager.
Take that, Sigma.
That's the same same answer for me. It's MJ, because he made me cry in 1996 because we lost.
Yeah, well, you got to get over that, man.
So
That's greatness. I love greatness. I don't get mad.
That's why I hate Tom Brady.
That's why I love LeBron, baby.
He made me cry in 2012.
Man, they're being real hard on him right now.
Yeah.
This Tom Brady cannot catch a break. And also, some people are going to hear this and go, oh, F Tom Brady, and shut up. He doesn't need you to defend him, and blah, blah. But here's the thing. They always find something to go after Tom Brady about, and it's the most ticky-tacky horse crap.
It is.
Like a few years ago, they're like, he shouldn't be cliff jumping in the offseason because he could get hurt. Well, he's one of the best athletes in the world, and if he gets hurt now, you still had 4 Super Bowls. Yeah. And then he won a 5th later, so I guess his cliff jumping didn't whatever. Yeah, and a 6th. And that's how long ago it was, though, when this happened. He only had 4. And only. And then a few years later, he kisses his son on the lips, and everyone criticized that, which is like, it was one of the most endearing father-son moments I've ever seen in my life. Like, he was teasing his son for giving him a short kiss. So he's like, no, kiss, I'm your dad, kiss me. So then his son just like kissed him longer. I thought it was a really sweet moment.
Yeah.
And on all the morning shows, they're like, it was a little creepy, wasn't it? You're like, shut up.
Yeah.
And then yesterday he went cliff jumping with his daughter, and she was scared. She's like a little girl. So he's like 1, 2, 3, and they're holding hands. And so she kind of hesitated. So he's like, oh, I don't want her to hit the rocks. Like I have to like pull her with me. And so he pulls her so that they're far enough that they both land safely in the water. Yeah. But it did look like he kind of yanked her. He's yanking her so she doesn't hit the rocks.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, that's awful. He's just like, you're like, what are you talking about? He's a good dad.
We were just mad because he's good. And they try to find any little reason to.
Which is why I'm glad I'm not a pro athlete, because fans are the worst.
And I like that he's, teaching his daughter to be fearless.
Yeah. He's taking her doing like fun, cool, adventurous things.
Exactly.
Yeah, adventure is part of that's life. Yeah,
that's
exactly. We love Tom Brady. That's what Jeanie BUSS said. Come play for the Lakers, Tom.
Yeah, but I would never draft him on my fantasy football team.
Really? You have a fantasy football team?
I did, but I gave up 2 years ago because I think the Washington team needs to change their name. Mm-hmm. And I know like that makes me not popular with
the Redskins fans.
It's just, I find
the R word.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like it. Mm-mm. What would you pitch their name would be?
It doesn't matter. It offends certain people,
Yeah.
And if it hurts one person, then it's just not acceptable.
Well, that's not a good argument, but I agree they should change it. If it hurts one person.
Well, I mean, it's
hurting a group of culture.
Listen to what people are saying.
Yeah, but if they were the Washington stupid Tonys, I'd be like, hey.
Yeah, but you're one person.
Change that.
I'd say keep it.
Change that.
I say keep it because it's only hurting one guy.
That's not nice.
It's just,
As a comedian, I've hurt one person that didn't even try to hurt a bunch of times. They're like, I was a fan. You're like, I'm sorry. I have a room full of people and you took that personal. But I agree with you. They should change it. I also think the Indians should change the symbol, the Chief Wahoo.
I think they got rid of it.
They did.
Sort of got rid of it.
Sort of it.
Yeah.
So like they still have it on their sleeve on some uniforms, and then fans have gone like doubled down on it and bought like all this extra stuff. And because people like money, they're like selling it in the team store and stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
They don't wear it on their hats, but they didn't really get rid of it.
Do you still have your finger on the pulse of fantasy football? Because I have a draft coming up.
Yeah.
And I have the first overall pick, and I have no idea who to pick.
Oh, man.
Oh, I think I could give you an idea.
Who should it be?
Tom Brady.
No.
Why?
Don't make your quarterback the first pick.
Yeah, come on.
You have to go for.
I mean,
it's
sports.
like it depends, like what the scoring system is. So
I think it's pretty standard.
You either want a running back or a wide receiver.
She knows what you're talking about. Well, so who should he get?
I haven't played in 2 years, so I don't know who the.
Were you good when you played?
I won a couple times.
You won?
So I played for like 10 years.
Wrestling.
And I loved it. It's fun.
It's fun.
I think it's great for the fans.
Fantasy football. You collected comics. You have all the makings of.
Right. And I'm single.
Well, this is insane. It doesn't. It makes no sense.
I know, right?
I love you. Thank you for being here. I got to ask you the final question.
Okay.
We ask all our guests.
Okay.
Jeanie BUSS. What happens when we die?
Why do you phrase it like that? Like,
for me, I guess I think that we're just different energy. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means that like we still kind of hang around and see what's going on.
In this, so there's people,
but like a different like plane, like Chick Hearn is still like watching Laker games.
Okay.
And like, but it's like there's so many other great things going on, in the next life. Right. That like this is just, it's kind of like, check back once in a while, because got so many other good things to do. How do you answer that question?
You just did. You answered it perfectly. No,
I need to know how you answer it.
Oh, how I answer it?
Yeah.
I always say, definitely I'm going to be a dog probably. I'm going to come back as a dog.
Okay.
I like how you have a different answer every episode, too.
Yeah. Well, because of the real things I don't know.
Yeah.
Tony, what do you say?
Oh, man, I don't know either, but I do enjoy. Have you ever heard of the story The Egg? It's a story where it's like a guy dies or whatever, and then he meets God. and then he's being reincarnated as someone else. And it's like he can't move on to the afterlife until he's lived in everybody's shoes and you've experienced everything.
Right.
So it's literally, it's just the idea that like we're all the same. And I really enjoy that. So it's like treat other people how you treat yourself. Because in this story, I am you and you're me.
Right.
We're living at a different
that's
time.
really good.
And it's
That's
really cool
almost like a Zen kind of.
Yeah.
Well, the problem I have with like reincarnation or those kind of things is like if I did come back, I wouldn't know how to be better because I don't get to remember any of those other things.
Right. And that's
so I'm saying it's like all the lessons I'm learning now and all the virtues and all the things that I put into practice, I'm like, all right. And then like a Tao or the source or God would say, you know, do it now, do another life. What if I come back and I'm selfish and I'm bitter and I'm rude and I'm like, well, I didn't carry any of those things I learned over there.
Yeah, that's the point of this story is that it's like you're supposed to live through all that. And then once you've done all that, then you know, like anybody you hate, you're hating yourself. Anybody you love yourself. And it's just kind of that idea.
Yeah, that we're all connected.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I forget who wrote it, but it's...
Why is it named an egg?
It's a part of the story. I
wish that part wasn't. I wish it had a better title. That's what I mean. That's my only note. Can't drop something beautiful on us and then say it's called the egg.
It's called the egg for some reason. I forget why.
I don't need that.
I forget why.
Eggs are useless.
Yeah.
They're not alive.
I guess.
Do you have anything you'd like to promote? How do people find you? Or how do you want people to find you?
You know, on my Instagram or on Twitter, just Jeanie BUSS. And then in terms of promoting, I'm producing one of the producers of Jason Momoa's like dream project. Well, it's one of his dream projects. He has a few, but it's a Western that we'll be filming in September and October.
That's insane.
I'm very excited
about
that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I saw like a photo of you and your friends and him like on Instagram and I was like, Jason Momoa, that's here. But I mean, there you go.
Yeah, he's a great guy and he's
super hot, super dreamy.
Hot.
Oh, did you see that stuff that was going on with him?
Oh no.
Like he was getting like body shamed.
Yeah, I know,
Are we losing our minds?
Dad bod.
Right, but here's the thing.
Jason Momoa?
Well, no, I'll take a different take on this. What I saw was a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio at the beach. You know, like he just looked like regular Leonardo DiCaprio. And then a photo of Jason Momoa, the same photo at the beach where it just kind of was whatever. And people were writing dad bods are in. Like women find dad bods sexy. Yeah, when the dad bod is a guy who only has a dad bod like 3 months out of the year, and he's a billionaire, and he's like Oscar winner, and like has a mansion and all these like. Of course, you like the dad bods then, not the guy that works at Best Buy with a dad bod.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're not checking out Gary.
It's crazy
from Nabisco's corporate center.
If I looked like Jason Momoa, I would never wear a shirt ever. I'd be on this podcast shirtless every week.
I'm glad you don't look like Jason Momoa. I put a hoodie over this jersey because I'm like, I'm not putting my gangly arms in front of Jeanie BUSS.
If I looked like Jason Momoa, that's what would happen.
I'd wear more jerseys if I looked like Jason Momoa, but I wouldn't
at the coffee shop
shirtless.
Like, sir, you need to put a shirt on to get coffee. I'm like, guess I'm not getting.
Do I?
Guess I'm not getting coffee because I'm not putting a shirt on. That's what's happening.
I love it. Oh, so when does that come out? Or when are you guys already shooting?
Hopefully next year. We're shooting in September, October.
Nice.
So yeah,
it makes me happy to hear that he's a nice guy.
He's great to look at, but he's got a great vision and he's passionate and he's a very unique person. I think he has a good message.
I heard he has a huge dick.
I had not heard that.
Yeah, on the internet. Bill Dwyer told me.
Yeah,
that's Bill Dwyer's favorite thing. He just talks about how big dudes' wieners are. All these celebrities.
Yeah, I guess.
You remember?
I do remember.
What do you mean, I guess? He's the only guy that can vouch for this. And he's still too nervous to limp in. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being on this.
Thank you.
You're the absolute best. I'm super excited about our team this year.
Yeah, me too.
The Lakers are... we're gonna win every season, and I hate the Golden State Warriors, and I'm happy to say that.
I don't hate them, but I'm tired of them
Yeah.
winning all the time.
Yep.
So it's
Well, it's like I don't know how they get exempt from criticism. Like it seems like whenever they win, everyone's like, "Oh, isn't it great?" Is it because Steph Curry is like undersized or something, or he's so likable that people? But like any other team that's ever had more than 3 like great players, they just get this like, "Oh, well, it's so easy when you buy all," and like, but for some reason the Golden State never, and maybe they did get it, and I'm just naive to it.
Yeah.
But I feel like they never got criticized the way they should have.
they deserve a lot of credit because they've raised the bar. The way they play is exciting. They brought in a lot of new fans. They've built a franchise that's moving into a brand new arena. They've done all the right things. So I admire the organization, but it's, you
don't
we
think it's a
gotta
little
be better, right?
little shady that they're like, we're out of Oakland. They've never wanted to be a part of Oakland. Even on the shirt, they have like the Bay Bridge. Like, oh, we're the Golden State. We represent the state. We're not Oakland. Call it what it is. You're the Oakland Warriors. You
Not anymore.
cowards.
Not
And
anymore.
then right when they start winning championships, they're like, oh, let's get a floating stadium in the Bay. And Oakland's like, hey, we need some tax. We need some like money.
Yeah. I mean, they have to do whatever they need to do to keep the team, at the top echelon.
That's a
So
good positive take. I just thought the way you'd shoot on the Redskins, maybe you'd shoot on the Oakland Warriors.
no.
But you won't do it.
No.
Smart businesswoman. Yeah. Tony, you got anything to promote, bub?
No, just follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I am Tony Reavis, and you can see what I'm up to there.
You did yoga yesterday?
Yeah.
You doing it today?
Yep.
What time?
Whenever we're done with this.
All right. Just making sure. I'm his accountability partner, and I love him.
Yeah.
I'm going to work out today, too.
You better.
We got to look like Jason Momoa to impress
That's right.
Jeanie Bus.
I know.
Thank you guys for watching. We love you. Tune in next week. We have a less famous and less beautiful guest, but fuck it. You'll like it.
Friendship.